Hello, hello, hello. It's Anita Haines with Stamp with Anita. Welcome. So glad you're here this evening. If you're joining me live, let me know you're here. Say hello. Give me some hearts and some likes. I never know which way to do this so I can actually see the little heart. Anyway, let me know if you're here live or if you catch this on a replay. Just let me know in the comments. I'm coming to you from my studio tonight to show you the third card that we did in my Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack. Such a fun card. I'm excited to share this card with you. Just as a reminder, I had my Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack last week and we did 4 cards. And the ladies that were here did 3 each of 4 cards. So they walked away with a Stamp-A-Stack, a whole stack of cards. So they walked away with 12 cards. I have a couple stacks here that I was going to show you tonight. So 2 days ago, I showed you this, shared this card and how to make this one. This is with the Reindeer Fun Bundle, Reindeer Days Fun Bundle. Such a cute card. Yesterday, I came on and showed you this cute card. There you go. Done with the Snowy Wonder Bundle. And then today, I'm going to share this one. And then don't forget to come back tomorrow. And I'm going to show you this one. This is the last one that we did. So this one's a really fun fold. Well, let me know if you pop in. Say hi. Let me know how things are going. Let me know if you make Christmas cards. I would love to know. And if you don't, have you thought about making Christmas cards? So tonight I'm excited to show this card and how quick and easy it is to make cards and to make such a cute card. And this one is going to be featuring our Peaceful Evergreens. Get this up to the camera. Bundle. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around and face it down to my desk so I can share those things with you a little easier. All right, ladies, again, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Can't wait to share this with you. Here's the card we're going to be sharing tonight. And again, it was one of the 4 cards out of my Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack. This particular suite comes with 2 different bundles. So it comes with the Peaceful Evergreen stamp set, and it comes with the dies that coordinate with it. And I love these dies because they have 2 sheets in here. So these ones that are outlined are ones that you stamp the images and it cuts the images out. And actually, I'm going to pull these 2 out because we're going to need those. And then these are kind of standalone. And I'll show you some samples of cards later where I use those. So I love this. This is a really good bang for your buck for the bundle. And then the other bundle that's included in this suite is, I love this word set. Oh my goodness. I've used this on just about every card. This is the Peaceful Season set. And then it also not only has these awesome sentiments, but it comes with additional dies too, which are really cool. There's banners, and then there's like the word Christmas in here. I'm making a mess here. That cuts out the word, and I'll show you on some of my samples after we're done where I've used some of those pieces. So these 2 are a bundle. The suite includes the folder, which I'm going to be using tonight. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a really nice folder with the evergreens in it. First day, we did the reindeer. Second day, we did this one. Today, we're doing this one, and tomorrow, I'm going to share the last one, the Shepherd's Care, which is one of my absolute favorite cards. So, let's get started, ladies. I've got a packet here. I'm going to pull out all my pieces and parts that I have prepped for this card. I'm just going to set this card off here to the side so we have it easily accessible. I've got my envelope, and it's got all my goodies in here that we're going to be using. I've used pecan pie, and this time the cardstock, I cut it 4 1/4 by 11. We call that hot dog bun style. So it's like a hot dog, whereas the other cardstock's usually the other way. So we call that hamburger, if you've ever heard those terms. But it's scored in the half at 5 1/2, and it's folded in half. And that's already done. I folded it just so I could get it in the card envelope there. The other pieces I have in here, I have 2 pieces of white cardstock, and let me check the size of these real quick. This is 3.5 by looks like 4 3/4. I have 2 of those. One of those we're going to be using for the inside, and the other one we're actually going to be stamping our trees on and die cutting those out. This I cut out of another set that I absolutely love. So this, remember how I told you this is part of one of the bundles that's in the suite that has the words, which we're going to be using a stamps out of here, A Season of Wonder and Happiness, and then the dies. So this is one of the dies that I cut out of here, and I also cut that out of the pecan pie. Then I have this piece that I already cut out. Let me see. This one is 3.5, and it's the 5.5. It's going to go the whole length of the card. Let me stick this down here so it's in the frame there for you. And then what I already did, and I don't know if you can see, I've already run this through the folder. But if you notice, hopefully you can catch that, you see those snowflakes in there? Those snowflakes are not part of this die, or this folder. So what I want to share with you, what I did is we have this other folder that's the snowflakes. And hopefully you can see that. There you go. You can see those snowflakes on there. And what I did is I ran the cardstock through that snowflake folder first. And then I went back and ran it through the Evergreen folder. And so it superimposed the trees over top of the snowflakes. So that's a fun technique. It's very subtle, but that I kind of wanted that, those subtle snowflakes in the background there. And then the trees are obviously more prominent. So I've got that. And then I've got strips again from that Iconic Celebrations DSP that I cut. And they're just like 5.5. They go the whole height of the cardstock by, I think, a 1/2 inch maybe. Yeah, just a 1/2 inch. And I did that. I mean, you literally could have laid that piece of cardstock and cut out a big piece and laid it in the background. But for me, I cut the strips because then I can get a lot more bang for my buck. I can have that cardstock go a lot further. And then the other thing I have in here is a piece of black baker's twine. Those are my pieces and parts. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and stamp my trees. I'm using Memento ink pad. It's our black ink pad. And I'm going to take this one. And with these big stamp sets, instead of stamping down on here, a lot of times I will do it this way. I'll lay the stamp down on the table and I will ink it up. And I told the ladies the other night when we did this, or last week, it might not look like it's inked up right because this is the design of the stamp. So it looks a little varied, almost like watercolor, where there's lighter areas and darker areas. So don't be surprised if you ink it up and it doesn't look like it's inked up, but it is. And I'm going to stamp this one down here in this corner. There you go. I'm going to actually go ahead and clean off. This is my scrub pad and my Stampin' Mist, and I'm going to clean this off. I love this for the red rubber stamps because these little bristles that are in this pad get all up in there. Look how clean that is. I love it. Okay, so then I'm going to take the smallest little pine tree out of this set. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp it up here. There you go. So there you have it. I love those. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off again. So one side of this, I actually wrote on here, one side of this is my wash side and one side I use as my dry. But there's actually little, like it's embossed in there. There's like little raindrops in there and there's a little sun over here. So that's the wash and the dry on that. But I love this, and it's a nice size, so it can clean even the big background stamps easily. All right, so I have those. What I'm going to do now is pull up my handy dandy mini Stampin' Boss. Love this little guy. Again, I think I mentioned this, I have my big one across the room, but this is the little mini one that I just love having at my table. It works and operates just like the big one. And actually the majority of our dies will actually run through this little mini one. So I'm using plate number 1. I'm going to lay that down. It has all the instructions on here on how to use this. And then plate number 2. And then I'm going to lay, let's see if I can get this in the frame where you can see it. I'm going to lay my cardstock on here. This one's pretty close, but I think it's going to work. It's a little tight, but we'll make it work. And then I'm going to set my dies down. And as I mentioned before, I found my Post-it note tape, which I love. This tape, it's just like a Post-it note, but it's in tape form. And what I like to do is lay the die right on top of my image, have it all lined up, and then I'll just stick a piece of this Post-it note tape on top of it, and it keeps that die in place while I'm doing this, and makes it much easier for me to run multiple dies and just to keep things from shifting. So there we go. Make sure that's down. All right. So now when I put that plate, the top plate on top, nothing's going to shift on me. So I love that. And then this just runs through. I've got to grab a hold of it here. Runs through my die machine. Isn't that, it's so great. And I love that the large one folds up too, but it folds up and makes it easy for storage. So here, we'll take the plate off. And this tape comes off so easy. It doesn't rip the cardstock. I used to use like our, what's the tape? Washi tape, I guess. But sometimes the washi tape was a lot stickier. It is a lot stickier than this tape. So sometimes it would tear the cardstock. So I love this one. I have not had any issues with that whatsoever. All right. I'm going to set these dies aside so I do not lose them. I'll put them over here. So I've got my trees. They're ready to go. Get this out of the way, and we'll start to assemble. First thing I'm going to do, make sure I've got this split the proper way, I'm going to take my 2 strips, and I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to run that along there. I think I got it off the edge there. We'll see. And then, I did. Oh, I'm actually going to leave, I'm going to stick this out of the way. I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge over here. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. So about, I don't know, probably 1/8 of an inch maybe, all the way down. Looks like my cardstock's not folded exactly in half. It's shifted a little there. So let me fold that. Make sure I've got that right. All right. So there's that piece, and then the other piece, see I stuck it up here, same thing on this side. I'm just going to come in about 1/8 of an inch and go all the way down. So there we have it. Actually, that looks a little crooked. Hopefully I didn't press that down too hard. Sometimes if you do it quickly, you can pull it back up. There we go. That looks a little better. So there, that's on there. And then this piece right here will just lay right on top of there, as so. So let me go ahead. I'm going to put my adhesive, oops, on the back of this. Sometimes it's a little tricky when it's the folder, like it wants to pull the cardstock up, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. Sometimes I put it actually on the base instead of the embossed piece. And then I'm just going to lay that right there on top. Looks like I have a little bit bigger outline than I did on my first card I made, but that's fine. Everyone's going to look a little different. So that's glued on there. And then what I'm going to do, before I attach these, I was going to take some of my Winkostella here, and you may or may not be able to see this because it's very subtle, but it's just a way to add some shimmer and some glitter. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that little tiny bit of shimmer there? I love that it's a way to add some glitter without it being glitter, if that makes sense. I think this one is just about out. I thought I had another. I do. Ladies, I have a new one. So let's this will be good to show you anyway. When you get one of these, because there's a little bit of a trick here. When you get this, there are instructions in here. But see this little black? Can you see that? There's a little black thing, little ring in there. You're going to want to take that out, because what that is doing is keeping those from coming together. Like this is going to poke this right here, so it's keeping all that paint in there so it doesn't dry out. So you want to take that out before you use it. And as you can see, this one is very clean and very white compared to this one, which has been used quite a bit and has pretty much dried out. But anyway, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shake this, kind of like any paint pen that you use. I should probably actually do that with the lid on. I'm going to shake it. And then, let me see if I have a piece of scrap over here. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap white and pull over so I don't accidentally. And then right here on the sides, it says push, push. And you're going to, I'm going to take this off now. You're going to push it, and what it's going to do, it's going to help the paint come out to that tip. And you can kind of see it coming through here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see if I've got that in the camera right. You can kind of see that coming. And once you do this, this is basically you're just priming it. It's not something you'll have to do every time you're using it. It's just to get it going, or if you haven't used it in a while. Can you see that paint coming out? It might take a minute. There we go. It's starting to come out, ladies. So, can you see that shimmer? So once that starts coming out on that tip, then I can go ahead and use it. But that's just to prime it, just to get it started. So now, I think you'll be able to see this a lot better. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, because some of this down in here, instead of wasting it, it's going to be covered with the other trees that are going on top. So mainly these ones that are showing up here at the top. I am squeezing just a little bit to push some of this out, just because it's a new one. But like I said, once you've got that going, you probably only do that when you pull it back out. Okay, and maybe I'll do a little bit down here, because this is going to show. But we added this like to our reindeer the other day, to the white part of the reindeer. I've added it to little snow caps, and it just, like I said, it just gives just a very subtle, nice shimmer to the card without it being, oh, that's showing up nicely right there. I'm gonna let that sit and dry a little bit while I do the stamping on this little guy. So this is my little banner, and this one, again, I'm using the words out of this. Now this one is a photopolymer, so it's a clear stamp instead of the red rubber. But we're gonna go ahead and ink this up, or we could ink this one this way too. All right, and I'm going to shut that because I just know myself. And then I'm gonna take it and stamp it straight down, straight up. Ta-da! A season of wonder and happiness. So I've got that. Let me clean this off real quick. All right. Pieces and parts. Then the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add this twine to the back of this. And what I like to do is I just like to take a little bit of adhesive, run it back there. And honestly, the more you think about this, the harder it gets. It's just kind of swirled around on here. So I'm just going to kind of swirl it. Or you could even swirl it in your hand ahead of time. I'm going to kind of cross it over. There you go. Just swirled it around. And then I'm on top of that, I'm going to add my dimensionals, my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm actually going to put some right on top of that, just so that this is probably more than you need on here, but I wanted to put a couple on top of where that baker's twine was so that it would stay in place. Let's get these, and these I'm also going to add dimensionals onto the back. I'm going to do the large one first because we're going to put that one down first. Oops, get that all the way to the edge there. And let's put one in the middle and one up here. So let's pull our card back in. I love this tree set. All right. And then I'm just going to attach this to the front of the card. Probably right about there. Kind of want it to offset those trees in the background. And then this one I'm going to put right here. So this is going to overlap on top of here, so I don't want a dimensional on this side. I'm going to put them over more on this edge. So one at the top and one over here, like so. And then if I wanted some adhesive, I could add just some of this that's going to sit on top of here. So I'm going to attach that one right about there. So I have those on there. And then these are going to go right on top of that. Pull these off. I told you, this is such a quick and easy card to do. And I love just the different layers and the textures and different things that are going on with it. But how cute is that? And then let's go ahead and stamp. We'll do the inside. So the other piece of cardstock that I had is for the inside. And again, I'm taking a sentiment that's out of here. There's lots to choose from. This one is, let's stamp it down and then we'll read it. Much easier to read once I have it actually stamped on here. Hoping this season is bright and beautiful. Love it. Clean that off. And I'm going to leave this out because I want to stamp this image right here. I want to stamp, and I'm actually going to stamp it. And then I forgot to put a scrap up here. Let's see. I'm going to pull up a piece of grid paper real quick because I want this to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it down here inside my card. And maybe even lighter on the edges there. So I've run it all the way across. I love that. So the ones that are lighter look like they're further back in the background. Okay, let's move that. So that's the inside of my card. I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive. Open this up. Oops. Maybe. Doesn't want to cooperate. And then I'm just going to set this inside. This gives me a nice white panel then to sign for whoever I'm sending it to. And then last but not least, what I'm going to do is add some bling. Let's see. And I'm using these iridescent faceted gems, which I used, I believe is on yesterday's card that I shared with you. I'm going to pull a couple different sizes. Or do I have two different sizes? I do. There's like two different sizes on here. It's hard to tell, but take those. You can use your pick tool, which is this guy, to pull it off like that, like so. And let's see, I had one about here, and then another one I had up here, and then one of the smaller ones I stuck down here. So, and sometimes I just use my snips and I just kind of pull it off, but the pick tool works nicely. So there you have it. Oh my goodness, ladies, I think that's it. So I'm going to pull this up. You see that little bit of shimmer and the bling from the gems, the layering. This almost looks like leather. I love the neutral aspect of this card. And then we've got the twine in there, the double layers of the folders, and then you open it up and you've got your message on the inside. So there you have it, ladies. How quick and simple. Oh, I forgot. How about the envelope? You cannot send out cards with naked envelopes. I'm sorry. It's just, you can't do it. So I'm just going to take this image again, stamped it with my Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp this down here. So there. So then I have a nice envelope to send to that card in. Clean this off. Wow, that was quick, I think. I don't know how long we've been on here. But if I weren't talking and explaining things, it would have even been quicker. But I love this. Let me share with you a few other cards that I made with this. I'll share the first two that are very similar. This one, which basically I took right out of the mini. Let me pull this back in. I believe it's back here. Our catalogs are called catalog idea books. So don't ever hesitate to use the ideas that are in here. So here in the back, they were showing like 4 different colorful ways to do Christmas cards. The classic Christmas, which is red and green, Wonderland wishes. These are just happy pinks and plums in here, kind of like I did yesterday with the moody mauve and the misty moonlight. This one, which is the chic, and it's just like neutral tones. And then this one is glam with this metallics and dazzle and that kind of thing. So what I did is I just pretty much just did this card. Now they used a die out of a different set. I went ahead and used this same die that was in this bundle, but that's using the DSP paper. And I ran it through the folder, and running it through there, it kind of gives some of the edges of the cardstock turn white, because it's, you know, this is white cardstock that's printed on. And then the rest of this is the same as what I did on the card I shared with you today. But it gives it a whole different look than this card. And then the other one, this one, again, the same one, and I did use the die here. I can't remember what this die is out of, though. I can't remember, ladies, right now. But anyway, this one, I used a whole sheet of that TSP and then layered it with vellum that I ran that folder through. And I don't know if you can see that. But I totally forgot. We don't carry the just regular vellum anymore. But we do have some other vellums that we carry that already have designs on them that you could use. But I kind of like this one that just is plain. So anyway, so those are, you know, a few different options of neutrals with that suite or that bundle. And then, let's see, I have a couple other ones I did. I was playing around yesterday. I was having so much fun. So here's another one. Now this one is using the effects, those metallic effects that we sell, which gives it's similar to the Wink of Stella, but it's in a little bottle. I don't have it here at my desk. But anyway, ran it through a folder just on white and then painted with a sponge dauber on there. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. You can catch that. It's got that gold shimmer. And then this is using those wonderful dies, which layer. I absolutely love that. This is embossed, the word Mary. And then this blue ribbon. Absolutely love. We're going to use that on the card tomorrow. It's navy blue with this gold speck. I love this card. It reminds me of my oldest daughter's wedding. Her colors were navy and gold, and this ribbon would have been wonderful to have. But I love this card. It's so pretty. And then those trees I stamped on the inside there with a lovely message. And then let me see what else. I did this one. I played around with this one. So this one is using some of the DSP that's in the bundle that's included in that suite. And this is the Pretty Peacock color, so I just used little snippets of that. And just stamp these trees off back here. And then I actually did run this through the folder. I ran it through that, I don't know if you can see it. I ran it through the snowflake folder and the tree folder. And so you probably can't tell, but in person it gives this a lot of texture and dimension, which is awesome. And then I took some of our good old rhinestone gems and I painted them with our Stampin' Blends markers. And these were clear, and then I just colored them. I don't know if you can see that sparkle on there. And then this ribbon. Isn't that fun? All these are so fun. So many different things that you can do with this stamp set. And I'm sure there's even more that you could do that's not even Christmas when you have these evergreen trees. I'm sure you could make some really beautiful cards for birthdays or celebrations or retirements or anything like that. Let me flip my camera back around. Sorry if I made you nauseous. I forgot to mention I'm wearing my little sparkly reindeer antlers, some bling. I figured that worked well with this card to add some bling. I need to put my Christmas decorations up back here, but I haven't done that yet in the studio. So anyway, I'm so glad that you joined me tonight to see how quick and easy it was to make this card. And again, this was the third card in the 4 cards that we did for my Stamp-A-Stack. So again, the ladies that came the other night last week got to make 12, and they actually got a half a pack of this DSP to take home as well. That's what I have for you tonight, and I will be back tomorrow. Meet me right here, and I will be sharing with you the Shepherd's card, which again, this has been an all-time favorite. It was probably the favorite of the Stamp-A-Stack, but I'll be sharing how to make this card tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And don't worry if you don't catch it live. I will. It'll be recorded and it'll be saved up here, and you can come back and watch it anytime you like. So thanks for joining me tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.